Hi again, everybody. It's Mike from The Art of Guitar. I have another video idea that I needed to get out. I know this is like going back to pandemic levels of doing videos, pretty much one every other day, but I can't stop the flow of inspiration and they just keep coming to me in weird places. I also love to give messages of hope just because it seems like nowadays, every time you look at your phone, it's like impending doom is coming, or it's already here. Everybody feels like, what's the point? Everything's just going to collapse soon anyway. So I love it when I actually have moments of inspiration and good news to tell people. First off, I want to say that it's pretty mind-boggling how different things are these days than when I first started to play. Because back in the day, if you were decent at guitar, let's say you could play some Metallica tunes, you were considered one of the best musicians in your school. Back then, it was really easy to be a big fish in a little pond. But nowadays, with YouTube and the entire world able to upload videos practically, you're in a much bigger pond now. So it gets to the point where if you could stand out in YouTube, you're in a pretty select group of people, And speaking of standing out on YouTube, the other day I saw a video from this kid who played every single Tool song, their entire discography, in one take on drums. Now, I messaged him today to ask if I could call him a kid because he's 19 years old. So I'm like, you know what? At my age, it seems like anyone who's under 25 is a kid. So he was cool with it, by the way. I mean, that seems like an impossible feat. Whenever I try to play Tool songs, I'm lucky if I can get 4 bars down to do like my drum trivia on my live streams. That takes me a long time to get down. I can't imagine playing an entire album, let alone the entire discography all in one take. It just seems impossible. So his name's Tyler Visser, and I'm looking to get him on a live stream pretty soon. I'll talk a little bit more about all that in a second, but I also wanted to talk about a few things that also led up to me making this video. So we're finally at that place where when I watch a video on Reels or even YouTube, I sometimes wonder if it's real or not. Like the other day I saw this wrestling match between Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross, and I thought, yeah, we're pretty much there. We're at that place where I'm not going to be able to tell what's real anymore. Obviously, I knew that wasn't real, but there are some other videos and some other reels that I've seen where it looks like a normal video and all of a sudden like the dog will start doing like breakdancing moves or something. This kind of brought a feeling of dread to me, and I just thought, what hope is there for anybody who creates anything anymore? It just seems like everything could be faked, generated in a matter of seconds, and it seems like almost nobody's job is safe anymore because AI is this impending giant that's going to basically crush everybody. And then a few things happened the last couple days that have kind of given me a little bit of hope. And, it's kept me from getting too dark in my thoughts of where we're going to be headed pretty soon. And they came from weird places. Like one of them came from a video game. So Super Metroid is a game I've been trying to beat. I just beat it twice, but I want to keep getting better and better at it. So naturally, as a big nerd, I've been going through YouTube videos and watching tutorials to try to optimize my play in the game. Well, while watching that, I saw that there was a speed run version of it. That's where you just try to tear through the game as fast as possible. And at the bottom corner of the screen, you could see the person actually playing it. And when he gets done, he's just like freaking out.
Oh my goodness!
Because he's so excited that he beat the world record. And because he's so excited, I felt that excitement too. The whole time I was rooting for him. I knew he was going to get it, but it was still exciting. It's like when I rewatched the 87 Twins World Series, I know they're going to win, but I still feel the ups and downs of it. So that human triumph feeling was there when this kid beat it. After that, there was another video that they recommended, a thumbnail off to the side. I clicked that and it said that somebody beat it in about half the time than this kid did. I watched part of it, but there was no screen of the person actually playing it. It was just the game playing. And I realized when I read the description that it was what they call a TAS, which is a tool-assisted speed run. That's where somebody can get an emulator and actually go frame by frame and program the game to play as fast as possible to see how not even humanly possible it would be, but just overall how possible it would be to beat this game in the fastest amount of time. As soon as I saw that it was emulated, I just clicked off of it. I no longer had any interest in it because yippee, you get to see some really cool stuff, but as soon as it's done, there's no feeling of triumph. There's nothing to overcome. So that gave me some hope. I was like, you know what? That feeling I get when I see an actual human beating, a world record, I love that feeling that we seem to have programmed in us of, catharsis, if you will.
Come on! Yes!
That's why it was so cool when I was recommended this video. All of a sudden I see this kid on a drum set, 7.5 hours this video is. And I was just like, there's no way. So I saw that he did timestamps, which is awesome. Thank you for doing that, Tyler. And I went through, and I think a lot of people have done this. You just click on the songs that you're interested in or that you think are really difficult. And I'm like, let's see how he did in like Anima. And I clicked on it, and he's just playing it. He looks real relaxed and, playing like a pro. When you look back at his older videos, you could see that he's been building up for many, many years. I'm not sure how old he was when he started drums, but I saw his earliest video. He looked pretty young. And it was funny because you could tell it was completely legit. One take, as I went through in, all the songs, as you progress, you could see him getting a little more sweaty. And then when you get to the very end, he just looks like he's in some trance. I bet you halfway through, it was probably one of those things where you just lose your mind and you just play. You just let your body do the work. So he gets to the very end, and it's funny because there's a part where he has to hit the kick drum like 5 times in a row with one foot, and he sort of laughs to himself. And I think it's because his leg must have felt like rubber by that point. But then he gets to the very end, he hits the last hit, and he hits save on his computer. First of all, that must have taken a lot of storage space, by the way, to record all those drums like that for 7.5 hours. And then he sort of just sits there, and there's this calm, like, presence, like, I can't believe I just did that, Then he kind of wipes the sweat out of his eyes, and it's just like, fade out from there. It's just so epic. Now, even though I wasn't there for the entire 7.5 hours, as he got close to the finish line, I felt that same feeling of anticipation, that you do when like your favorite sports teams are almost about to win and you just can't believe it. Then when he finally hits that last chord, I just feel that rush of energy. They could easily do this with AI and just have some sort of avatar playing all the Tool songs, maybe like Pee Wee Herman playing all the Tool tunes or something. And it would be perfect. They could easily make it perfect, but it wouldn't be the same feeling. I would basically shut it off after 2 seconds and be like, yeah, that was kind of funny to watch for a second. There would just be no triumph if you use a, Tool, ironically, a Tool assisted speed run for this. Having the actual human being do it, accomplish it. You think back to all the hours, all the sweat that must have gone into mastering these tunes to being able to do this. That's where the real juice of life is, if you will. And finally, another thing that's really given me hope is that I've been getting contacted by a lot of former students who used to take private lessons, and they've gone out into the world, they've seen what it's all about, and now they're contacting me and they want to get back to when they used to be the most connected, when they've really felt alive. And I guess that was taking private lessons, whether it's guitar, bass, drums, or keyboards or whatever. They miss that feeling of being in a room, holding an instrument, learning, talking, playing and having fun with music. People are tired of the Zoom lessons, they're kind of sick of looking at screens, I think, all day. And they just want to do the old school thing again. And I think that's a trend. I no longer think it's just me being the old man yelling at clouds. I think there's actually this growing mass of people that have seen where technology is going to take us. And instead of just using it like a tool, that word keeps coming up, to make your life better, it's literally taking over everything. And it's just got to be this place where we draw a line in the sand. I know it's impossible to do, but I'm going to try for as long as I can and be like, you know what? I still want to get back and do the real things of life. The things that are just genuine, things that are tactile, things that are tangible. And I really want to be real again in my life. I actually started going to bed watching VHS tapes, not just my Nancy Wilson VHS, by the way, which I did a video for the other day, but I've been watching like Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. I've been listening to cassettes and records again. And I get this feeling of being alive again. It's really strange. And it's also really strange that I think that's really strange. So I messaged Tyler, like I mentioned, and I asked him if he'd want to do a live stream soon, and he's cool with it. I'm going to do a live stream with him, one with Ellie Adair, who's another person that brings me hope. She's an artist that's more like indie, and she writes all of her own music, does her own video work. I did a video on her. I'll link it at the bottom. And I'll also put a link to Tyler's video of him accomplishing this epic feat of playing Tool's entire discography in one take on drums. So congrats to Tyler for pulling that off. I know I talked to my drummer in my band, and he's like, man, if I did that, I think I would just stop playing drums from then on, because what else are you going to do past that? Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and look forward to those live streams. And I've got a few more video ideas to come out this week. I'm on a roll. What can I say? All right, we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.